Hey, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to take a look at side hustles. Whether you're in your 20s and looking to make some extra cash, or in your later years, 40s, 50s, 60s, and you're looking to get out of debt, or maybe even save for retirement, side hustles are a great way to supplement your income. Today I'm going to take a look at some of the biggest ones, the four big ones: DoorDash, Turo, AirBNB, and Lyft/Uber, and we'll see which is best, what are the pros and cons, and which one is the most anti-fragile, because some of these have hidden risks and some of them have hidden upside, hidden serendipity, hidden luck within them. So I want to take a look at that, and as a bonus, we'll do one more at the end, and it's probably the most anti-fragile of all the side hustles that I've personally experienced so far. Here are some of the benefits of DoorDash. You can choose your own hours. Huge benefit. You can just work when you want, log on and start hitting the road. There's no one else in your car, like an Uber or Lyft. The car can be messy, whatever. You can use whatever car you want as long as it's running, and you can get the deliveries done on time. You don't have to take every order. If there's an order you don't like and it's small money, you just click decline, refuse the order. So it's totally up to you. There's good customer service if you do have a problem, which is very few and far between. But if there's a problem, they have a 24-hour hotline staffed with people, and you can talk to a live person and get help with the order. You know, as you go along with DoorDash, you can, maybe your hourly rate won't be as great at first, but you get really good at deciding, or determining which order is best for you, which is going to tip the most, which is going to take you to areas you want to go to. It's fun. I like it. You get the tunes going. You can play music in the car. You can just, you can really get into a DoorDash groove, and it just the time goes by. Pretty soon you've made $100. It's a great side hustle. Let's see what else. The peak times of DoorDash are times when you're awake, so that's convenient, and they're even a lot of times outside of work hours. So if you want to squeeze in a little morning rush, DoorDash, there's a lunchtime, and there's obviously there's evening dinner time and late night food being ordered all the time. So it's a great side hustle to work outside of your work hours. There's no special insurance, no hoops you have to jump through to get going on DoorDash, and the money's pretty good. In my area, I averaged, I would say, between $15 and even as high as $30 an hour. So that can be pretty good. Love me some DoorDash. The cons, I really couldn't find many. There's obviously some wear and tear in your car, so that's something you have to factor in. You have to pay for gas and wear and tear, but it is manually intensive. You have to drive. If you don't like driving, it's not the side hustle for you, but I like driving around and seeing new areas of town, new restaurants. So for me, that wasn't a con. And I guess the other con would be, it's kind of obvious you can work when you want. So that means there's no guaranteed hourly rate. It's flexible, but you might sit for a while, especially if you're going at odd hours of the day. So just be aware of that one. All right, the DoorDash anti-fragile rating. I have this very sophisticated looking chart here that I made with a whiteboard and marker, but I think it's the best way. It was the fastest way for me to show it. You can see the DoorDash pattern is the greens are gain. The gains would be obviously profits or money. So you go along, you're making money. There's no real huge downside that could occur. There's no real huge upside either, so I would rate this as a neutral on the anti-fragile scale. All right, next let's take a look at Lyft/Uber. The pros for Lyft, Uber: you can drive when you want. Again, very flexible. You can make pretty good money especially when it's busy. The rates shoot up, and the more people are using it, the more lucrative they make it, the more they charge. So you can get some pretty good tips and some pretty good money. If you're a people person, you get to talk to people in your car, so that, sometimes it may not be talkative, but that's a plus. If you like people, you get to see different neighborhoods, different parts of town. With some of the cons, even though they charge more when it gets busy, it can also mean that if it's super busy, it's hard to get around town. If there's a huge event, it can be very crowded, and the traffic can be frustrating when you just want to complete that ride and get your money and get to the next one. Being stuck in traffic is very frustrating. The people side, it could be a pro if you like people, but for me, it's a con having people in the car. Sometimes it's okay to have a chat, but always having new people in your car is is kind of stressful. You have to handle a lot of drunk people, so that's definitely a con. There can be safety concerns with people in the car, different neighborhoods, some shady neighborhoods. So that's also definitely a concern. And then of course also wear and tear in your car. And as far as the anti-fragile rating for Lyft, Uber, I would rate this as neutral to slightly fragile. Reason being is you're getting, as you can see, you're getting some good gains. You have some big days where you're getting some good rides, but then someone throws up in your car, or there's a safety issue, or you only need one bad situation to really ruin it. All right, on to AirBNB. AirBNB can make you good money, especially if you already own a property that's not being used, like a vacation house or something similar. You rent it out to people, and you can make some good money, several $100s per day. And it's more passive income than, say, an Uber or a DoorDash. You're not manually driving. You don't have to be present. You have a little bit of maintenance, obviously, on the property. Once you get it ready, you rent it out, and you're making money, and you can be doing your other work. So I like the passivity of that. Some of the cons for AirBNB: you can't just decide to make money like you can with Uber or DoorDash. You can't just sign on and drive. You have to wait for someone to rent your property. So that definitely is a little bit of waiting time there. And then obviously, issues with guests. Could be wild parties. They could trash the place. There could be crime issues. All kinds of things could go wrong. So this, Airbnb, I did it for a while with an apartment, but you're just holding your breath every time. And we're hearing more and more horror stories lately in the news about wild parties happening with Airbnbs. So yeah, you may have insurance. I don't know. Will they pay for it? It could be a gray area. I wouldn't want to have to battle them, and I wouldn't want to have to clean up, and I wouldn't want to have to call the cops. So for that reason, I'm rating Airbnb as fragile. All right, on to Turo. This is sometimes called the Airbnb for cars. So you're renting your car out to people instead of your home or apartment. Some of the pros here, like Airbnb, it can be high per day. It could be 40, 50 to 100, 120 per day just for renting out a car that you're not using. So that's, great. That's pretty passive income. You don't have to manually drive people around. Obviously, there's work with getting the car cleaned up and ready to go and maintaining the car, but it can be definitely a high dollar amount per day, and it's passive income. So when it's working well, especially if you have the right niche car and you're renting it to people who are responsible and hopefully driving locally instead of going across the country. You can get into a nice groove with Turo. But some of the cons, people really beat up your car, like Airbnb, but I think it's worse. No one respects your car as they do, I think, a home. They just treat it much more poorly. Even though there's anti-smoking policies, people will smoke cigarettes, vape, smoke pot. They lie about what they're doing. They lie about what the use is for. They lie about where they're going. They'll take it to Georgia or California or Texas or New York or something, and it's a lot of wear and tear and a lot of a risk. Huge risk, huge downside to Turo. What if this thing breaks down in New Jersey and you're living in South Dakota or Iowa or something? You have to go get that car. Do you leave it? Do you go fix it? Do you bring it back? Do you tow it? It's a nightmare it's just a rolling liability on wheels is how I look at Turo. It scared me to death every time I rented these cars out, and especially when I'd find out where they are sometimes. Like, I gotta get out of this game. For those reasons, my anti-fragile rating for Turo is definitely fragile. Like I said, you can see you can gain $100 here, $200 there, $40 here, but then someone trashes the car or is used in a criminal activity. It's just like I said, it's a rolling liability, bad things waiting to happen. So I don't like Turo. Okay, but wait, there's more. I'm not done yet with the video, so don't click off, don't turn it off. I have one more bonus side hustle that I promised, and that is the most anti-fragile side hustle that I've encountered so far. And that side hustle is YouTube, the one you're watching right now. So as you can see from the chart, each video takes a lot of time and effort, and when you start, you're really not making any money, right? You're losing money if you're counting the time you're putting in the equipment you have to buy, laptop cameras, lighting, etc. if you're gonna go that far. So you're putting in a lot of time up front. There's a lot of expense, a lot of time. So you don't make much money, but then one day you get a viral video, something takes off, and your channel could take off, and it leads you to a more lucrative career. So the only big swing is the upside. I don't see any big swing on the downside. And for that reason, YouTube is the most anti-fragile side hustle that I've encountered so far. At least that's the story I'm telling myself. As of the making of this video, I have 11 subscribers. So if you're one of them, thank you for being there from the beginning. When I get to that 100,000 subscriber mark, you can see you were there first. So I think it's going to be anti-fragile. Well, it is anti-fragile. There's no doubt about it. Whether I make it big or not, that's another argument. But costing me nothing, and I'm actually gaining experience video editing and with graphics and on-camera presence. So it's really all upside. I love making YouTube videos, so hopefully it'll take off someday. But if it doesn't, I'm still making out. All right, do you have any ideas for other side hustles that are either fragile or anti-fragile, either high risk or low risk? What are your favorites? What do you think of the rating I put out there today? Any disagreements, agreements with that? I'd love to hear your comments. I'm sure others would love to hear from you too. So if you like this video, please like it. If you want to comment, please comment. And if you want to hear more about anti-fragile anything, this is the place to be. So please subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.